Good afternoon, everybody. Well, this is the story of the live-in nanny. Her name is Diane Stratton. She was hired by Marcella Brancamonte. She was hired to help take care of the 3 children and do the housework in exchange for room and board. After about the first 3 weeks, Diane Stratton just stopped doing any of her chores. She took to her room. The Bracamontes went to her with another contract and said, if you cannot go by your contract, we're going to have to ask you to leave, because the nanny had said all of a sudden, oh, well, she has COPD and she can't do the chores that she was hired to do. So they told her she couldn't do the chores, she would have to leave. She refused to leave. So they called the police, and the police say there's nothing they can do. That Diane Stratton has every right to live there because that's her place of residence now. So now the Bracamontes have to go through court and legally evict Diane Stratton. I believe she was served earlier with papers from the sheriff's department. The nanny has even had the nerve to say she wants that family, all of them, out of that house between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. They hired this nanny from Craigslist, of all places. I've sold a lot of things on Craigslist, but anybody that's came by my house to buy what I've sold, I've never let them in my house, much less come live in my house. They was talking about it on the news, and they said, well, if they were wealthy enough to hire a nanny, they were wealthy enough to go through an agency, and that's what I thought. But one of the lawyers made a good point. They said that they don't believe the people are that wealthy, and at least wealthy enough to go through an agency, because they hired the nanny off of Craigslist because they were not paying the nanny. They were simply giving her room and board in exchange for her work. I don't see why they have to go through formal things to evict her, because if you go to your job, if I went to work for the next 3 weeks and just sat there and refused to do my job and they fired me, I wouldn't be able to stick around. This is a contract. This was a work contract. So, but anyway, they're going to go through the legal things and evict her. She had been staying in her room. They said she did leave yesterday, and she was found asleep under a blanket in a truck at the police station. But they said that her stuff is still there in the house, so she probably is coming back. And they can't change the locks or anything until she has been properly evicted. Now, I think that's wrong, because if she was to go off the deep end and do something to that family in the middle of the night or whatever, you know, there's nothing that the police can do. Doesn't make any sense to me. I think the laws need to be looked at a little bit closer, because this is a contract of a work contract. This is not like they took in a tenant who was paying rent. She was not paying rent. So now they have to go through the things of evicting her. She claimed that she couldn't work because she has COPD. Well, if she has COPD, she had it before she took that job and before she performed that 3 weeks worth of work. So, but anyway, so now people were feeling sorry for them at first, but now everybody's blasting them for hiring this nanny off of Craigslist, of all places. So what do you think? Do you think that they got what they deserved? Or do you think the nanny should just go on? Oh, they claim that they did a background check on her. But if they'd done a background check, they would have found what's in the news now, that she sues everybody she's worked for. She's had, over the past couple of years, at least 6 lawsuits where she just sues anybody for anything. She's on some kind of list. I don't remember what kind of list it is, but that's a list that they call it for people, for habitual suers. Anyway, Mr. Furley barking at the children going by the bay window. Mr. Furley. Anyway, so what do you think? Would you hire your nanny off of Craigslist? And until next time, bye-bye.